Hi, I'm Simranjit Kaur, and today I'll share my personal teaching statement and reflect on my educational history, motivation for teaching, and insights from the readings. My educational journey started in Balakyesu Convent School, where I completed my primary and secondary education. Romy Atwal, who was my mathematics teacher when I was in my grade 9th, has influenced me by his way of teaching and created a classroom environment where every student felt valued and heard. His ability to connect with students on a personal level, combined with his dedication to fostering critical thinking, left a significant impression on me. This experience inspired me to perceive education not just a way of to convey knowledge, but as a tool to empower learners and help them discover their potential. I was always motivated and inspired by books. And a quote by Rita Person, which states that every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them and understand the power of connection and insist that they become the best that they can possibly be, has influenced me a lot to become a teacher so that I can at least give my best to support student at every point whenever they need it the most. Later, I came to Australia, and in ACU, I started my journey as a student of Bachelor's of Early Childhood and moved one step closer to my dream job. Moving next, these experiences, along with the history of teaching, has provided me with a perspective that significantly affects my interest of teaching. Learning about the progressive education movement and its focus on experimental and student centered education was interesting to me. Like the class that used to inspire me, I would also like to establish a classroom culture that promotes wonder, imagination, and teamwork. The focus of my teaching philosophy is on education as an active progress. I want to create a setting where children have a freedom to question, contemplate, and eventually find their own interest. This style of teaching is consistent with progressive education movement, which emphasizes the education is an active and participatory process instead of a passive one. There is another important aspect in the field of education, which is building relationships with students and importance of ethics. In my opinion, positive relationships created between the teacher and the students are the crux of effective teaching. Establishing solid relationships with students is central to my teaching philosophy. I am committed to creating a classroom that is open to multiple perspectives and in which every student feels appreciated and nurtured, regardless of their condition or background. Accordingly, under the tenets of create care ethics, students cannot learn effectively if positive emotional states are absent and no established relationships exist. Care and support create a secure and respectful environment for the students, encouraging them to work to their fullest. Having grown up in India, where nearly 40% of children come from disadvantaged backgrounds, made me realize how much access to resources and support can facilitate the academic journey of a student. I am bent on making sure that all the students have this much sort of equitable and inclusive learning opportunities. Finally, I see teaching as a practice that is both political and ethical. I am even more committed to teaching my students how to live ethically and be active participants in a democracy. Teaching and education is not just about imparting knowledge, but more about equipping students to become active participants in building a more equitable and just society with knowledge and skills to do so. The reading from Nodings and Bista have further supported the discussion of professional responsibilities and viewpoints. Noding's viewpoint of emphasizing the importance of relationships and emotional well-being in education deeply resonates with my belief of creating an inclusive classroom. She emphasizes on the importance of building relationships with students and looking upon their emotional well-being as well as not merely just focusing on academic reports. This reading supports my belief of creating a safe and inclusive classroom and ensures that every child is focused, acknowledged, and encouraged in a safe and supportive environment. Similarly, BSTA focuses on education as a public good and deal practically with the problem of education. This reinforces my belief that education does not only means imparting knowledge, but also about fostering democratic citizenship and ethical living. I see education as a way to contribute to more just and equitable society. I am committed to enable my students to develop the skills and ethical values that are required to thrive in an ever-changing world. As Evian Weltham said, the future of the world is in the classroom, in my classroom today. This is the kind of teacher I aspire to be. A teacher who inspires curiosity, creativity, and ethical living in my students. Thank you for listening to my personal teaching statement. Here are the references used for this assignment.